Well, hello everyone, and welcome to, can you believe it, Mike? Episode 9 of The Real Cine-Files. We are at episode 9. You remember when it seemed like episode 9 would be like a faraway thing?
Yeah.
Now we're here. It's crazy. It's exciting. It's exciting. We are super stoked about this episode. We've been talking about it, planning it for a while, and we are so glad you're joining us. This is The Real Cine-Files. I am Brandon.
And I'm Mike.
If you didn't get that already. And we are your discussion show for all things cinema, streaming, theaters, whether it's movies, shows, even a little bit of pop culture peppered in there, just everything entertainment related. We mainly focus on, our forte is primarily movies and shows, but it's kind of like hard to not, dip your toes in all those other waters,
Yeah, we even do sports.
We do. We even do sports, as you saw in our previous episodes. Some of that was begrudging, I will say. But yeah, this is so exciting. This is not only is it episode 9, but it is part 1 of it's definitely easily going to be a 2-parter. This is the Karate Kid Cobra Kai themed episode. We have been planning this for a while. You're welcome, Monty. Yep. And but it's something we really wanted to do anyway. We've been excited about doing this for sure. So this is, everything related to the Karate Kid universe and Cobra Kai. Obviously, television series related. It's kind of what prompted it because of the new season of Cobra Kai. We got Cobra Kai. We're in season 6 right now. Part 1 was a few months back. Part 2 just dropped last week. And I believe you have news on part 3.
Part 3 comes out in February.
It comes out in February. Wow. We don't have to wait that long. That does feel like a far away time, though, especially for the cliffhanger they left us off on.
It's like, 2 months?
Yeah, 2 months. God, no.
December.
Yeah, you're right. I can't even do math anymore. Basic math has escaped me completely. But, it is television related. So before we get into anything Karate Kid related, we got some stuff we've got to talk about. We've got news. We've got recommendations. And I'm radiating with excitement and energy for this. And I don't want to miss anything. So, and let me just say this before I get into all this stuff, because let me tell you guys, don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this. You are going to miss some really hot recommendations and hot takes on current streaming series that are just, there's a lot of buzz about. So don't go anywhere. But before I do, we got to do a little bit of the, kind of the nostalgic thing. We got to do I guess you could call this the poetic side of things. I want to get into the substance of the television thing. So before I get into the news, because I got a couple bits of entertainment, movie entertainment news, but it's primarily TV. So before I get into that, I just had this thought that it hit me, and I kind of wanted to know what. I was just curious because I give you all these recommendations, and you know what we do? We recommend things, I think it's fair to say that even though we do, I think sometimes like to think about, would the other person like this? We do like to think that, obviously.
Yeah.
But the truth is, most of the time I think we recommend things because we like them.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to jive with the other individual the same way. But I was thinking about that, and I just wanted to get your kind of your opinion, I guess whatever your subjective preference is on certain things, so I could get an idea, not just so I don't waste my freaking breath with recommendations, Mike, but also so I can actually know what to recommend in the future.
It was kind of like what we was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's just a mood thing. So
what?
A mood.
Oh, mood thing. I thought you said.
Yeah, people have to be in the mood for certain things.
Certain things, yeah. And actually, I wasn't even referencing Dark Matter at all. This was before Dark Matter. This was way earlier in the night. I had this thought, and I actually had 2 questions that came up. I wanted to ask you, and this is in general too, because I want our audience to hear, and please feel free to comment about this. We would love to hear what your opinion is, because I'm just genuinely curious what, the mainstream wider demographic of people, what they think about different things. And my main question is, before I get into even the first bit of news, is, before I say my first question, since I said comment, do not forget, like, subscribe, and share. I mean, we're so excited about the growth that we're having. We're really, really excited. Mike and I've been kind of on a cloud 9 this week about it, and we thank you for your support. We kindly thank you for all the support. It is, believe me, treasured, and we do not take it for granted. And so, in the same spirit, I would just ask you to like, subscribe, and share. If you think anybody else that you know would like our stuff, would follow our conversation, would kind of align with our takes. Even if you don't align, if you're just entertained by my foolishness and R-worded nature on a regular basis. But yeah, if you think they would like it, pass it along, share it. We really appreciate that. And don't forget to comment. We will comment back. And we are on Spotify. We're on all the things. We're in all the places, on all the things. That's all that matters. So just wanted to get that out there before I go any further. So if you want to comment about this thing, we're definitely curious. And I just want to know, what is it that you think makes a show binge-worthy? What do you look for in a show that when it's on, you've gotten into whatever, sometimes good ones, in my opinion, it's in the very first episode, but whatever the episode it is that it happens, that you just know, oh my God, I'm not stopping until this is done, until there's no more episodes left. What is it you look for, or what is it in a series that you can think of that makes it binge-worthy or really good?
Number one, great story, great characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Yeah, great characters. You know what I'm saying? Great
compelling characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the background, the set, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All that, comes into play that makes it binge worthy. It's like Silo. You know what I'm saying?
It's got all the ingredients, doesn't it?
Yeah, great characters, great story, you know what I'm saying? And it's set up in a real nice, but the Silo was nice, so it had good, what we call that? Set?
Cinematography, yeah.
Yeah,
set pieces, yeah, definitely.
Cinematography. Yeah.
Definitely. It is. It's really easy to watch, isn't it? Just really, honestly, just the artistic design and the way that they design their sets completely is just amazing. You'd even almost be forgiving if the story was lacking, which it's not at all in that show, but you would almost forgive a little bit of lack in the story.
Yeah.
If it was for that. So that is a good one. I was just curious about that, what makes a show binge worthy. And I guess, and I'll tell you mine in a second. I guess my part B to that would be, what is it? I guess it could be the same answer, but there may be some nuance and difference in what your answer might be. But what do you think is a good prescription or formula for a series that makes it an easy decision to continue it, to renew it for seasons 3, 4, 5, whatever, X number of seasons? What is it that you think? Obviously, there's you look for what you just said, but is there anything else that, in your opinion, that you could think of that, okay, this show, it has got to continue for as long as it's possible? What do you think the driving force in a show? What is that main ingredient in a series that you think is definitely, this needs to be continued for as long as it can be? Or what is it when it's gone that you're like, okay, it's okay if this dies because it's plateaued? Is there anything you can think of?
Not in particular. I mean, if it was a good show and it ended well, it may not need a continuation.
Okay. If you feel like there's been closure?
Yeah.
It rounded off the story, capped it off well?
Yeah. Now,
that's
if
good.
Just say it ended, but they could do a prequel, then I feel like you continue it. But if it ended, which is good, and it just does not need anything else, then it should end.
Yeah, that's good. And I think most of the time you can tell when, I think we can all relate when there's been that show that there's so many shows that will live on in infamy that they were canceled before they ever got the chance for the story to be finished. Is there anything more irritating than that? Especially if you were invested in it.
Netflix.
Oh my God, there's so many. Listen, I mean, probably one of the biggest shows that I can think of like that falls into that category is a show called Freaks and Geeks. That's where so many stars that Linda Cardellini, Seth Rogen, James Franco, Jason Segel, all of these people got their start on that show. That was the show that kind of put many of them on the map, and that was, who Judd Apatow is. He was the guy behind Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Superbad, Knocked Up, Anchorman. Judd Apatow is just comedic writing genius. His screenplays are phenomenal, and that was his series. That was his baby, and it got canceled before it got legs, man. And it's so disappointing.
What it was on?
I don't even remember. It's been so long. But you can find it on, I think it's on Prime now. I'll have to look into that for you. But if you ever want to see where all these people got their start, you need to check out Freaks and Geeks. But that's shows like that come to mind when I think of like these series that never even got their chance to even have the story, be finished or to come to full fruition. You're like, what? And it's really frustrating because you're invested in these characters. You're like, what's going to happen? I really want to know. Like, it may be sometimes an unhealthy intrigue and fascination with these made-up characters, these fictional characters. But hey, if you find something in them that's relatable, that you can identify with, I mean, there's nothing that can account for that. There's nothing that can make up for that. You know what I mean? That it just goes. To me, it's invaluable. It's indispensable. It is just. There's nothing like it in my opinion.
I think it'd just be the network. The network be like, well, it's a good show, but it just doesn't have the numbers. They look for,
I mean, obviously we're numbers driven, especially it's competitive right now. That market with the streaming, you can't. There's not enough seconds, minutes, hours in the day for the rest of what time we have left. And I'm more aware and conscious of my mortality than ever, Mike. Good Lord. I'm not going to talk about old stuff.
That's probably one of the shows they was looking for to drive the network, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it didn't hit the numbers, and it was like, well, you got to cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had a huge cult following, but a cult following is not good enough.
Yeah, that's true. And there's not, to finish my thought, there's not enough time to consume any to consume all that's out there. You have to pick what's your niche and stick with it. This is my thing. This is my this is the imprint on my soul. This is kind of my forte, my cup of tea. And you pick that and you stick with it and you go with it. And because there's not enough time, there's no way. Believe me, I have tried. I'm a freak. I will try and keep up with everything. And I keep up pretty good with most things, but it's become very painfully aware. I've become very painfully aware of the fact that I cannot keep up as hard as I try. But I do a pretty good job, man, of with the stuff that's at least worth watching. I don't miss it. I do not miss it. And I mean, and the thing about it is, I am true. Sorry to be so on the nose. I am a cinephile in the truest sense of the word. And I do watch these things because I'm passionate about it and I love it. I enjoy it. I mean, it's what I consume. It's my soul fuel, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's not the only soul fuel, obviously, but it's one of the main things for me, and what I enjoy, what I delight in. And man, I got to tell you, it's one of those things where there is a line between, like, I'm watching this because I am into it and I'm doing it for all the reasons that I just mentioned, the aforementioned, but then there's the other side of I'm watching it because we're going to discuss it, or we've got a lot that it's relevant, so we want to share about it and talk about it, even if it's not completely up, it doesn't hit within, our, if you could use zeitgeist in this way, and our personal, our personal, zeitgeist. I know that's used for the wider zeitgeist, and there's so many shows that fall into it, but if it doesn't fall on the radar of like our own personal, like, zeitgeist, we watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's because we're going to talk about it. And man, sometimes it's hard to, like, disconnect from, okay, am I watching this because I'm really into it or because I think we might want to talk about it? It's just, you know what I mean? Anyway, getting off on a bunny trail, but so I just wanted to see what your opinion was of that, because there's been so many shows that, they get renewed. Some shows get renewed that you don't want to see renewed. Some shows get killed that you want to see go on. And I just wanted to know what your opinion was, what you think the recipe is for that. And
yeah, I just started looking into it, and I found out some stuff like Netflix, for example. They cancel shows because the viewership and do people actually finish the show. So if it's a 30% finish rate, then that show definitely getting canceled. So somebody said a show like Squid Games, for example.
Yeah,
I think the finish rate was 70%.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so definitely got renewed and had high viewership. So.
Yeah, numbers driving a lot, and I mean it's always going to an extent. But I was just thinking about earlier. I was like, what really, thinking about the golden age of television, and then of course, our own very like the younger age of, streaming. It's having its heyday, but like I would say it started like the sweet spot started back in like somewhere between 2015 and 2018. They just hit a stride and it just skyrocketed, and now it's just such a competitive market. But let me answer that question to you, and then for you, and then I'll get into the news that I have for everyone and for you. So, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Not that I would forget this, because I know me. I think I know me to an extent. Do we ever really know each other though, or ourselves? Do we really know ourselves? It's a thought, Mike. No, I'm. Here's the truth. It's real simple for me. It's two things. What makes a show binge-worthy? 100%. It's got to be a large amount of full frontal nudity, large amounts of it. And then high amounts of expletives. And I know you're feeling me out there. Lots of that. That's what makes a show binge-worthy, and then what makes a show something worthy of being continued. If there's a lot of death, you know what I mean? If it's a morbid nature and, there's been a lot of killing, a lot of there's no main protagonist or main character who's safe. They could die at any point, so you're on suspense. So lots of death and destruction, peppered in a little bit of cannibalism. Actually, I'm joking about all of this. Sorry about that. I had to get out there. Honestly, I look for the same things that you do. And it's just, I think that, because I asked myself, what is it that gets me? And I think probably now more than ever, because your perceptions change as you get older.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you can look at something you saw when you were 11 and thought a certain way about it, and then when you're 29, you're like, what?
Yeah, like you said about He-Man, it's trash now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my gosh. But I swore by it when I was a kid, It's like, man. So your perceptions change. And I think what's become more important to me than ever, and I think what drives whether something's binge-worthy for me or not, now more than ever, is the pacing. The show has got to be paced right. It's got to have the right rhythm to it, the right tempo. Just how you rotate. Like say you got multiple stories going on. You got multi-angle going on, multiple angle thing going on. You're focusing on this character here in relation to this character. Then you got the side story here, and so you got different scenes going on. Like knowing when to switch to each thing, when to focus in on this part of this character's story, when to switch back to the main character's main story, and when to switch over to this subplot. You know what I mean? It's like knowing that, to me, is so key, because I've watched shows even recently, given them a chance to see, if it's even going to get off the ground with me, and it won't if the pacing isn't right. It could be all the right ingredients, star-studded cast. It could be heavy on visual effects, like the good kind.
Yeah.
Not the cheap ones. And I'll check out. like really quickly. I'll know. It's nuts, man. I will know very quickly. And don't get me wrong, we can all be wrong and be prejudgmental. I said that I made that point about the Yellowstone thing. I didn't give it a chance. I kept getting stuck at episode 3 of the very first season.
Yeah.
And then once I, broke through that threshold, it was over with. So we can be prejudgmental, but most of the time, and I have been wrong. I've revisited things and I've changed my opinion, but most of the time, I don't, Mike. I don't. I'm usually right. I can know usually within the first episode, I can know. Sometimes it takes me giving a show a couple episodes. I believe giving something a chance, really. And sometimes you can't say you've given something a full chance unless you've watched a couple episodes, truthfully.
Yeah,
because
so you ain't giving it a chance.
Yeah, if you don't have the patience to see how this director, how this showrunner is really fleshing out these characters and how they're building the foundation, how they're setting the stage.
Yeah.
Like if you're not willing to give them a chance to even see how they're doing it and see if you like it, see if it gels with you or not, then I don't think you're giving it a shot. You're just like, oh my God, there's not enough pretty pictures and colors moving fast enough. I'm checking out. This is boring. You know what I mean? Yeah. We can be that way. But anyway, I just thought it would be interesting. That's, you heard it here, folks, at the Real Cine-Files.
You said a mouthful with the pacing. For all my weebs out there, us that watch One Piece, the pacing is terrible. Mm-hmm. Terrible.
Yeah?
Yeah, we over like 1,000 episodes. And it's
gosh.
so much filler. And the pacing is just bad. I don't even watch all episodes no more.
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest with you. You just said it right there. You said a mouthful with filler. I can't stand shows that rely on filler to fill out, fill out, obviously filler for filling out, to really like expand and like close in the gaps where there's so much lacking.
Yeah.
And you know what's happened? They jettisoned the hell out of this series and dropped out all this good stuff. And then they think they're going to fill this vacuum with like good things. And then I don't know if they misjudged themselves, if they got ahead of themselves, cart before the horse, so to speak, or if they just were bad at directing it and didn't know what they're doing. Their vision wasn't clear. And so they end up, after they've jettisoned the hell out of it, they end up filling it with nothing but filler. I can't stand filler.
Yeah, they're trying to get that runtime. They be like, well, it has to be 40 minutes, so they add filler.
Oh, God.
Yeah, runtime. That's what it be.
It's so, Hey, don't get me wrong. Listen, I love some runtime. But you just said it when you first came in and sat down earlier. You said, boy, time goes by so fast. Listen, it does go by fast. And you know when it really goes by fast? When you're watching something that you don't want to blink or you might miss it. Like a show that's that good. Thank God we have streaming and we can pause, and we're spoiled as hell with all that. But like, say you're at a movie, you don't want to turn away for fear that you might miss it, for real. Like there's stuff that's like that's that good. It could be 3 hours long and it does not feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like that. It's like that. And so that's why I am not of the belief, the philosophy that filler, we gotta bolster this thing, and we gotta expand it, and we gotta really push it and stretch it so that we get this runtime. You suck at your job. You should not be doing that. If you don't have enough substance or quality writing, you don't know how to get. I'm going to get off. You don't know how to get the literary context right in this situation with this person. You don't see how this character relates to this character. You should have a wealth of dialogue at your fingertips that you're thinking about if you really envisioned and conceived this character correctly, and you think their story's worth being told. If you need filler to tell the story, you don't have a story worth being told, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
Here's the devil's advocate, but that's
but
there's a balance, I know.
No, it's not about balance. I'm pretty sure the studio be like, well, have to be a certain length, and they had a good story, but they was like, well,
the studio,
we signed you on for 8 episodes. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to be this length, and so the studios pretty much be ruining stuff.
Do you know how prophetic what you just said was, Mike? Let me tell you. My first bit of news for you is about a studio. There is a new show coming out. I tell you, we talked about the cooking nature of Apple TV. As you know, they've got a lot of hot shows. You're about to sincerely give Dark Matter a chance. Once you know you can't watch it sleepy, you know you can't. I'm telling you, because it's like, woo, all those. Listen, all your you'll be firing. Every neurotransmitter will be firing. Your synapses will just be. I'm talking about, like, yeah. I mean, because it's like it really like tickles that intellectual side of you. It really does. Even if you can't, dude, I don't understand quantum physics for shit. I don't understand it. No, but I get the concept, the premise enough. Like when you're explaining this theoretical science, by the way, you're not gonna process all of it fully, but you do have to be awake to get some of that.
I understand quantum physics. What was it, Endgame?
Yeah, that was really well played. I like the way they did that. But which we're going to come back to that because we haven't discussed the Marvel side of superheroes. We're going to come back to that. We promise we're not done with that. We still got an episode worth doing that on.
Part 3.
Yeah, part 3 on our superhero adaptation. So, but listen, there is a new Apple show coming out. It is the project of Seth Rogen, who stars in it also, and Evan Goldberg. His partner, Evan Goldberg, they've done a number of things like Sausage Party and stuff like that. They've got a real kind of sick sense of humor, which is just brilliant sometimes.
This is the end. That movie.
This is the end. Oh, so wild. Yeah, like they got so many great projects like that, man. But one of their most well-known, really dark projects, very, very unique. There's nothing, I've never seen anything like the series Preacher that first aired on AMC. Have you never seen Preacher?
Yeah, that was based off a comic book, wasn't it?
I believe so. A graphic novel, yeah.
Yeah.
But they adapted it. But I mean, it's one of those things where you like
That was Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Wow.
That's their show.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got some interesting projects, man. Yeah. Anyway, so this is their newest one. The first trailer for it dropped, and I watched it, and man, it looks really good. It's really hard to tell what the show is about, besides the fact that it's about a studio, and this guy's a studio head, or he's being handed over the reins to this studio, which you can clearly tell in the trailer. There's been issues. I don't know. Maybe it's dying, and now he's going to try and resurrect it. It's hard to really tell, but it's very clear and very apparent from the trailer that there is a lot going on, and it's going to be very entertaining. Listen, I'm talking about, I saw so many people in it. Catherine O'Hara. Catherine O'Hara, Anthony Mackie, Bryan Cranston. I saw so many people, and I'm blanking on half of them.
Bryan Cranston.
Oh
man,
he's phenomenal. He's just,
I know most people know him from what's the name?
Breaking Bad,
yeah. But I know him from Malcolm in the Middle, and he was
wild. Dude, he was hilarious in that show, man. He was absolutely hilarious in that show. Man, listen. Oh gosh, it's funny because I was just listening to Frankie Muniz on the Inside of You podcast. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to you about that later. Because I think he was Malcolm, wasn't he, in that show?
I guess.
Yeah. I forgot you're not a names guy. I thought you'd at least know the name of the actor who played Malcolm. Gosh. But anyway, so I wanted to tell you that was a good segue. You brought up studio. It's the spirit of the time, not to drop the zeitgeist out there again, but that is it. You think about it, it's very relevant right now for them to tell the story about a studio, whether it be a struggling studio or a studio experiencing the pressures that a studio does right now. And I don't know enough about that stuff. I know more than I ever thought I would, but I cannot possibly fathom all that there is involved in what makes a studio even work. There's so many moving parts, I'm sure,
Oh, yeah. You'll probably know about a studio in the future when you show them your script.
Oh, yeah.
You still writing that?
It's been a while, but I am. Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah, I am writing a screenplay.
Yeah.
I am writing a screenplay, and it's crazy because before I got into the lull, you know how you can hit writer's block? I got writer's block at about 2/3 of the way in, but man, listen, 2/3 of the way in, and you liked the idea, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
Some of the scenes, I appreciate that. Some of the scenes were they were just coming. and then all of a sudden that it's like the valve shut off. It can happen, and then you shift gears. But I will return to it, and I will continue. I will finish that product because it's too good of an idea.
So, quick question.
Yes.
Would you want it to be a movie or a TV show?
It's so good that you're saying that because about halfway through the process, my writing process, I'm telling you, man, I wondered, would this work better as a series? And I'm going to be honest with you. I've got 109 pages and I'm not even done. So I'm wondering, and when I say 109 pages, I mean according to, the formula of writing a script, writing a screenplay. Who cares? It works. Who says it even needs to be up there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and according to those rules, those pages, like I've got, 109 of them, and I'm not even done. And I'm thinking maybe it would work better as a series. Maybe because we're talking about, how important it is for a character to really, for the worth of this character to be felt, whether their story needs to be told or not.
Yeah.
And it may be too short if it was a movie. It definitely wouldn't be one of these little quick 90-minute movies. There's no freaking way. It wouldn't be possible. It may be a 2.5-hour movie, but maybe it needs to be considered as a series. And it wouldn't be that hard to do revisions. I would have to do a few different things to rewrite, but it may work better as a series.
Yeah, because you have more room to spread it out.
I won't have to shorten it at all.
Yeah.
I won't have to cut myself too short. So I'm glad you brought that up, man. I had forgotten about that, man. It's probably been 2 months since I picked up the pen.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Anyway, wow, I'm waxing nostalgic for real now. But okay, a couple bits of news, and then I gotta get. This is already a good episode. I know this wasn't fully what we planned, but I gotta tell you this. I'm gonna make these quick because I want to get into the Karate Kid. I know you do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm enjoying this conversation.
All right. Well, then we're not gonna pressure. We're just gonna go with the flow. So, if you have, I want to tell everybody and you, Taylor Sheridan has got it, man. He's got it. If he was ever doubted, don't doubt. Don't doubt again, because this new series, Landman, with Billy Bob Thornton and John Hamm, phenomenal. Phenomenal. I watched the first.
That's his real name, Billy Bob?
Billy Bob Thornton. Yes. You didn't know that? Yeah, man. Billy Bob Thornton, man. He is that dude. But he is, oh my gosh, man. The show's incredible. I'm not going to spend much time on it. I just, put it on your radar. He's basically he's like a fixer. He's like the fixer for the oil company. He's a guy who solves problems. He's more than a fixer, but he's the guy. He's got a really, really important position in this big company. I forgot the name of it. It's like M whatever. It's not important, but he's like the problem solver, and it's just like, it's the story. The focus is on him and his family. He's got a son and a daughter, and he's in Texas, obviously. And there's, he's managing this company, and he's navigating all of the ins and outs of company, litigations and fracking and like just all kinds of stuff. But let me tell you something. There was a monologue that was so brilliant that Billy Bob Thornton is having with a very clear, certain leaning person. Let's just say they're leaning more towards they really care about the environment, but it's veiled in we care about the environment, but there's other things in it. But listen, he delivers this monologue about what would happen if oil was no more. It was revelatory. I mean, it was very incredible. It was incredible. And I fact checked just because I was curious. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, yeah, part of me resonates. It resonates with me, and I just agree, and I've got a resounding yes to what he's saying. I don't want it to be empty. I want to know if it's factual. I fact checked everything that was in that. And I know that was a Taylor Sheridan special, because there was a monologue about it. He had a similar monologue, not about that, but about in Yellowstone. It was about Kevin Costner was explaining to this person who was a protester at they were protesting animals being killed and whatever. Anyway, so it was a monologue. It felt very akin to that. This Billy Bob Thornton monologue, and it was good, man. It was worth watching just to get to that part. It was fantastic, and that whole scene was great because she almost gets bit by a rattlesnake, and he saves her. It was just great. It's like, I don't want this guy who's an oil man to be saving me from this rattlesnake, but I have no choice. It was just really funny. It was brilliant.
Yeah, most time when somebody protesting something, most time they're a hypocrite. Trust me.
Many times they are. It was discovered in the character Summer in Yellowstone. Her hypocrisy became very glaring, to say the least. But I had to get that out there. If you haven't seen it, check out Landman. It's on Paramount Plus. You're going to be able to have a Taylor Sheridan festival, a marathon. Because
Paramount Plus doing it up, though.
Listen, I'm telling you, right now, Tulsa King just ended. It wasn't the strongest, but Taylor Sheridan's not as involved in that one. He's just part of it. It's within his, it's within his world, his universe. It's in the stratosphere or whatever. But listen, you got Lioness, Landman. And there was another one. I can't think of it. Mayor Kingstown's coming back. And they're all on Paramount Plus. And, of course, you can watch Yellowstone on Peacock. But I already talked to you about that. You're planning on doing that when you get done checking out. It may be better for you to just go start Yellowstone and then come back to Dark Matter if you feel like you're not. Because you got to be in the right mode, too.
Well, I was tired. I was tired when I woke up. But I'm gonna just dive into it.
Yeah, that may be what it is. You just got to be awake for it. So, but anyway, so. I'm telling you, it's so many good things. Paramount Plus, they really got it going on right now. Apple as well. It's really Taylor Sheridan that's getting that done. So, oh my gosh. I wanted to say something about Heretic, and I'm going to in a minute. And I know we were going to say a couple things about Gladiator too.
Oh, man, I got to watch Heretic. My bad.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I just wanted to put something out there about it in a minute. But just on the subject of show, speaking of Peacock, Day of the Jackal. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. Episode 7 airs. It drops on Peacock this on Thanksgiving, actually, tomorrow. And listen, oh my gosh, this show is so good. It's got Freddie Redmayne. I think it's I can't remember her last name. Her name is wait, I've got it right here. Lashana Lynch. Lashana Lynch. And Freddie Redmayne, she's the MI6 agent, and he's the Jackal. It is incredible. You want to talk about brilliant pacing? It's just a very entertaining. It's not really spy, but I guess you could call it like corporate espionage thriller. Like it's a hitman who changes his identity and appearance, and so on. And there's the agent chasing him. It's based off of the Frederick Forsyth novel that we've had, different numerations of. We had the 1973 Fred Zinnemann directed Jackal, Day of the Jackal. That had Derek Jacobi in it, who was in both Gladiator movies. These old school heads, Edward Fox, and just all these, Michael Lonsdale. That was the original one, the original Day of the Jackal that was adapted from the book. And then there was the Bruce Willis Jackal that was sometime in the 90s. I believe that was, I think it was Bruce Willis and I want to say Richard Gere, but I may not be remembering that correctly. It's been so long since I've seen it.
I might have to check that one out. Huge Bruce Willis fan.
Oh, yeah. If you've never seen the original Bruce Willis movie, oh my gosh. But no, you have got to see this series. It's on Peacock. It's still airing. It is phenomenal. I really love it. But it's really, really, really good. I just wanted to recommend that. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. It's just, you want to talk about edge of your seat. I mean, the suspense in the show.
My
It's
clients love to know
phenomenal.
if you think it's
And I love it when they
possible.
do the whole cat and mouse thing. And it's like, oh, they almost caught him, but he got away. And then, show a little bit of the person's weakness, show that, everybody can screw up even when he's got his method and he's got it to an exact science. Nothing's foolproof. Best laid plans. You know how it goes. And so it just was kind of neat to see that dynamic. But Day of the Jackal on Peacock, streaming now. It's phenomenal. Lashana Lynch, by the way, you've seen her in some things. She's an English actress. She was in Captain Marvel, The Marvels. She was in The Woman King with Viola Davis. She's been in a number of movies, probably been in more English, British shows and movies than anything else. But also wanted to remind everybody, Alien Earth, the Noah Hawley series is going to be coming out next summer. Alien Earth.
Wait, we talking about Alien?
Alien.
Okay.
I told you about this before, but it was a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just making sure.
It's coming, dude. And I have high hopes for this. There's not a lot that's been revealed yet. Right now people are doing the whole fake trailer thing. I don't think an official teaser's been dropped yet. I can't stand people that do that, by the way. Let me just say, I don't understand why people do that, especially when they're so disgustingly, egregiously, obviously terrible and fake. I mean, it's like...
you got lucky. Many times it was a trailer for something I got rickrolled.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
I listened to the whole song. It was pretty good. Rick Ashley, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you click on the video and that comes up. You're like a trailer for something. And I'm like, man.
Is that what they call it? That's hilarious. Listen, and you want to know why I'm super bitter about this? Because I actually fell for the freaking fake trailer one time. I thought it was real. It was not real. And I went and told somebody about it. And they had to show me it was a fake trailer. That's how I learned it was a freaking thing. Fake trailers.
Yeah, it used to be bits and pieces from different movies and stuff. That's what it be.
Yeah. And sometimes, if people take their time and do it right, you can almost fool some folks. Obviously, I got fooled, but now I've got my radar is very on. I'm on high alert. I can tell.
I can fool you. They got AI now.
Yeah, the AI. Listen, it's crazy. I see stuff dropping on our channel all the time as far as suggested videos that are made up trailers, like 1950s Panavision trailer. What's up with that, man?
I see that a lot.
Some of it's like, oh my God, what the heck? And you're like, well, I ain't gonna talk about what. I'm gonna just get past that real quick. You know what I'm talking about? It's crazy what they do in those trailers. But I wanted to mention that real quick. And I think that's it for the shows. Something that I'm really excited about. I don't have a date yet on it, but we have a live action Tomb Raider series that is coming. It's on the horizon. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, phenomenal English actress, very known mostly for the show, the Prime Video show, Fleabag, it's a different kind of show, but it is fantastic. If you're in that kind of, if that's the kind of, I don't really know that's a different kind of niche.
What type of show?
It's like a sex comedy. It's like a dark comedy.
No.
It's not really, it's you wouldn't like it, but she's really good. She's a brilliant writer.
What is it, like Sex in the City or something?
No, I wouldn't even put it in that same kind of, I wouldn't even put it in the same family as that. Not the same genre. Oh. It's kind of hard to explain.
All right.
I haven't even watched the whole series. I only watched the first half of the first season. And then I got distracted by another Prime Video show. It's like you see the thing, ooh, what's that pretty thing? Like you see the new toy shiny thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, let's watch that. Anyway, so that's going to be great. And I'm really excited about who's playing Lara Croft. Sophie Turner. She was in Game of Thrones. She played Sansa Stark. She's the redhead. She dated Nick Jonas, I think. Nick or one of the Jonas brothers. I don't remember which. But she played, she's tall. She's English. She's got she's got the hair. She's very attractive. I could see her doing a good Lara Croft.
They got to write the show right, though.
I hope they do. Well, listen, I'm telling you, that's why I think they've got the right person doing it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she's a good writer. I'm intrigued to see what kind of Tomb Raider show it's going to be. I think it's worth checking out.
They had dropped the Tomb Raider show on.
It's an animated show on
yeah,
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
I got bad reviews. But
Yeah, I bet. I just don't have the time for it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not, you know how I am. I'm not big on animation. It's got to be really good. Now there is a Netflix show right now that is really good. Have you heard of Arcane?
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
No, you have?
Oh my God.
Is it
Yeah. I didn't even know there was a season 2. I found that out like 5 days ago.
Yeah. Everybody said that shit was like 10 out of 10.
Oh, it's 10 out of 10 easily. Dude, the animation is it's otherworldly.
Sometimes taking the leap forward
The animation. It's almost too much for my retina to process.
means leaving a few
It's
things
it's
behind.
visually striking. It is phenomenal, and the story is great. The voice acting, it's a great show. Arcane season 2 is on Netflix. Check it out. So, but I mean, that you could tell that Tomb Raider was nowhere in the same ball game as Arcane.
So how do you feel like? How do you feel about the Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie? I found that to be pretty good.
Oh, I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I mean, the second one not so much. It wasn't as good. The
What is
Cradle
the
of
second
Cradle of Life or whatever it is. Yeah, it was. You didn't know there was a second one?
No.
Yeah.
With her in it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, unless I'm losing my mind. I remember there were 2 Tomb Raiders.
Yeah, they did another one with some other chick.
Oh, yeah, no, there was another one that came out like a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I really like her. I have not given that one a chance, though. I'm not sure if it's worth it or not. I'm glad you said that because I think I'm going to watch that. I have yet to see it. But yeah, I thought the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders were good. And that was back then when everybody, had a thing for her. You're just like, oh my God, let's see another thing to see Angelina Jolie in scantily clad outfit, tightly gripping her, and she's
Yeah,
gonna.
She was hot though.
Oh, she was really, really hot, of course, yeah. And I mean, of course, you got to think about the way that it was a big step up because I was a diehard Tomb Raider video game fan on PlayStation 1, and you're talking about going from like squarey, pixely type thing to full figure woman. You're like, oh my gosh, that's what she looked like the whole freaking time? Amazing. No, it was, yes, I think I'm getting away from myself here. Let me just move past this. I am not objectifying any female in this episode. Not one bit. Kudos to Angelina Jolie. Great job. No, I liked the movies. They weren't the best, but I enjoyed them because I was a Tomb Raider fan,
Yeah.
They weren't the greatest written screenplays. They weren't, but I loved them back then. If I went back and rewatched it now, I'd probably have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Like not as strong. So, but anyway, so that's what's coming. There's so many good things coming, and I am super excited about it. I think, let me make sure there was nothing else on that. Nope. Also, just a quick look. Oh yeah, one more thing. Oh my gosh, one more recommendation. It's a little limited. It's a comedy special on Netflix. Dr. Phil Unleashed. If you have never seen this stand-up comic, Adam Ray, do Dr. Phil, it's his whole shtick. His whole shtick is an impression of Dr. Phil that is cutting edge. He also appeared on Kill Tony as Joe Biden when he was still in the race. And it was priceless. He was Joe Biden and Shane Gillis was Donald Trump. Shane Gillis does the best Donald Trump impersonation I've ever seen. You got to see that episode. It is hilarious. Anyway, that's the comic, Adam Ray. He actually has been going around the country basically impersonating Dr. Phil. He does not break character. He does his entire stand-up show live as Dr. Phil. But they did a special. It's taken off, like it's caught like wildfire, and it's all over the place. It's gotten hugely popular. Obviously, so much mainstream success that Netflix wanted to do a special, and the real Dr. Phil is on it with him. You want to talk about hilarious? Watching this comic impersonating Dr. Phil talking to the real Dr. Phil. Oh my God. It is so funny. He's like, he said, what do we like? He's like, what do we like to do in the morning? Or something. Like he's asking, like, because we're the same person. Oh, it's so good, man. You have to see it. Dr. Phil Unleashed. Oh, it's priceless, man. Anyway, so listen, I'm just going to say a couple things real quick. We'll take a break. We're going to cap off episode 9. It's crazy that all of that took episode 9, but it was good. We talked about some good stuff that I was really interested in getting into. And so we're going to close off this episode. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment. We'll comment back. And what was it? Oh yeah, live streaming. Live streaming's coming. Mike and I are still discussing it, but we are going to do a holiday episode, a Christmas episode, where we'll discuss all the best Christmas movies and shows and all that kind of stuff. We promise we will not be dedicating any significant portion of time to discussing the Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies because there are a bazillion of them.
I mean, in Lifetime, somebody getting cut.
Yes. Or it's just like super extremely cringy romance. But anyway, so no, we're going to have a holiday episode. It might be the perfect episode to do a live stream, to do our very first, cut our teeth, so to speak, on the live streaming with Christmas, because everybody's going to be in the Christmas spirit. They'll be forgiving if we miss a beat and screw up royally. You never know. Maybe not. Maybe they won't. Maybe that's just me being hopeful. But why don't we cap off this episode? I do want to recommend, dude, seeing Heretic. Heretic is an incredible horror film starring Hugh Grant. I love Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant has just gotten into this whole other realm of acting, taking on these different projects. He used to be just the quintessential rom-com British, he's the cute, clever, charming British rom-com protagonist, and he's great. That's his thing. That's his niche if there ever was one. He's mastered it. Notting Hill, Love Actually, The Rewrite, music and lyrics. Oh my God, I love them all. I'm not gonna lie. I love them. If it's a Hugh Grant rom-com, sign me up, buddy. Sign me up. He's phenomenal. But he's got all these other different projects that he's done. He did that Guy Ritchie film that was phenomenal, The Gentleman.
Yeah, that movie. I was thinking was that the one we seen in the summertime?
You talking about a Hugh Grant movie?
No. The Guy Ritchie movie. You remember the Guy Ritchie movie we seen in the summertime?
No, I do not.
Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh yeah, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what it was.
That was great. Yeah, no, but he did that The Gentleman, that Guy Ritchie movie. He's done he's just really showing his range as an actor. And listen, you want to talk about playing an incredible horror guy, a horror character, the main antagonist. I mean, it is eerie, spine chilling, bone curdling, blood curdling. I'm going to put curdling on both of those things, even if one of them is less the traditional usage, because it's that creepy, and he nails it, man. Hugh Grant, I am such a big fan. And not that you're ever going to see this, but I'm going to say it. I want the world to know. I want it to get out there. I want it to be known in all of the spheres. The toposphere, the stratosphere, the atmosphere.
So where does it rank in the horror movie of the year? Heretic.
I'm going to go ahead and put it like this. There are 3. You've got Oz Perkins' Long Legs. You've got, I'm going to put it like this. Parker Finn did phenomenal with Smile 2. I really liked it. But I'm saying that the rankings, there's 3 that I would rank. I would say Long Legs, Strange Darling, and Heretic. I think that all 3 of those are worthy of being in the conversation for horror movie of the year. And basically, I'm just going to sum it up like this. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'm just going to tell you, Mike, and everyone else, I'll sum it up like this. Heretic, in my opinion, was a cinematic treatise on simulation theory set against the backdrop of a really compelling and creepy horror story with phenomenal narratives throughout the whole thing that really focuses on philosophy and religion. And I mean, it's twisty, it's turny, it's disturbing. And like I said, like, I'm not going to say anything else. I will not say anything else about simulation theory except you just don't look up anything till you see the movie, because you're not going to want it spoiled. So don't even look up the words that I just used, Mike, if you're trying to find out how it describes the movie exactly, because I probably shouldn't. There's no way. I hate to just drop like words like out there like that, or terminology that's not understood. But for those that do, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't think, I feel like I'm giving a mild spoiler by even saying that it's a cinematic treatise on simulation theory. But I don't think I'm saying too much. Just introducing the tones of, different concepts within simulation theory, saying that it's got something to do with that, I don't think is spoiling too much. But what I'm saying to you is, if you don't even know much about what I'm talking about, if you've never even heard anything about simulation theory, then don't look anything up about it, because you're going to be none the wiser, and it's going to benefit you, my friend. Promise you.
All right.
So, Heretic, phenomenal, amazing mic drop twist at the end. Sophie Thatcher is incredible. She plays one of the main protagonists, and then Chloe East she's the other one. They play Mormon girls who are coming to bring the good word to a certain individual played by Hugh Grant, who knew more than either of these girls could ever dream of knowing if they had 5 more lifetimes. It was incredible. So if you have not seen Heretic, you need to check it out. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. And it's Scott Beck and Brian Woods. These guys are phenomenal. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, you're going to spoil us.
Yeah, big time. So, I mean, this has been, even horror got in on this episode. I mean, this has been a very all over the place episode. But I'm telling you, man, it has been a great year for horror. Those 3 movies alone have been proof that horror has had a second coming. Sorry, that's a little bit on the nose, and whatever. I don't care. But I think the last thing, and we'll take a break. Why don't we take? There's been so many. We're past it anyway. There's been so many episodes out there about it. We were going to dedicate an entire episode to it, but we really don't need to. We'll just talk briefly about Gladiator 2, and then we'll just cap this episode off with it. We really want to get into the Karate Kid. We did see it. I'll just say briefly that, why don't you give your thoughts on it real quick, and then we just want to give our takes on it.
Well, it was a great movie, and what I really got from the movie is you just had two guys, on the different ends of the spectrum. One was royalty, he fell to the bottom, and one was a slave, supposedly, and he rose to the top. And they had these 2 different ideas about Rome.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
And one wanted to see it fall, and one wanted to change.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
That's it. No, that's good. That's a very good takeaway. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good as well. This is my idea going in was, I want to judge this movie by its own merits. I want to give it a chance, clean slate. You know what I'm saying? Take it at face value.
Yeah.
If I go in with the preconceived ideas and notions, the presuppositions about how it should be compared to the first one, how all it, and you could tell many people all they did was go in and with that in mind.
Yeah.
I don't know everybody's mind and heart, but you could very, very clearly tell just from some of the writings about it and reviews. It seemed very apparent, very obvious to me. So I think that as a legacy sequel, I thought it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I was thoroughly entertained by it. I definitely did not think that it was mid. I didn't. I thought it was better than mid, but I did have some issues with it, and it wasn't issues so much as comparing it to, the first one. It wasn't like there are certain things that can be derivative, and it's like always bad, and sometimes because when you hear that word, it's most of the time it's negative, but this was like a different kind of derivative, and it wasn't always for the wrong reason or for a negative reason. I feel like there were certain obvious, very, very clear lines correlating with the first one. It was a very clear point of reference to the first one, and there were some very similar parallels and different, like just the narrative of the main character compared to the first one. So there were some similarities that were going to be there, but the nuanced differences in it, I thought were good enough. I just felt like some of it fell a little bit flat for me, and I feel like the writing in some of it wasn't as well executed as I would have liked. It did not spoil me enjoying it. I really enjoyed it. How could you watch something that visually stunning and not enjoy it? I mean, you see something that majestic with even a halfway decent story, it's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah.
But for Ridley Scott, who I know what he's capable of, I mean, this is the man who brought us Alien.
Oh yeah.
This is the man who brought us Blade Runner. I mean, Gladiator 1. This guy, and he's never gotten an Oscar. That's what's crazy to me.
Really?
This guy has never won an Oscar for Best Director.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable. Now, Gladiator won Best Picture in 2000, or in whatever year it was. It came out in 2000. I think it may have got Best Picture. I don't know if they count it when the Oscars happened in 2001. I don't know if it counts for Best Picture 2001 or the year the movie came out, but it won it that year for that Oscar season. But he didn't get it for Best Director. So just knowing what Ridley Scott's capable of, and he is getting older, and he does some, interesting stuff. You can tell he's in a certain kind of headspace with particular ideas and stories. He really is exploring the whole, I'm old, let's make some really funny double entendre, like sexuality jokes and stuff. He's like really into it. He did it when he did the biopic of Napoleon, and I could see it in Gladiator too. So you can kind of see where he's at. He's in the whole, like, I'm feeling myself, I'm a weird old man sort of phase, but he's still the man. And I don't, for a man who I've wanted to see get an Oscar for these projects that I just mentioned, and even other ones, I would want something a little bit stronger to put him in the race. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because I want to see somebody like that he's an auteur in his particular field. He is, and I want to see him get that. I believe he's worthy of an Oscar. But the movie, I don't know if this was the movie to get him there.
Yeah, the movie was kind of silly, like that one part where they was in the boats.
Yeah, that was crazy.
With the sharks,
it's like they went and caught. Yeah, that was a little outlandish. Yeah, exactly. And there was some stuff where you're like, they really focused on battles with creatures and animals this go around, and that was cool. It was different, but
that was outlandish too.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little bit more battles with humans. You know what I mean? I really did.
Yeah.
But it was good. I mean, Denzel Washington playing Macronus stole the show.
Yeah,
I mean, he really did. He even eclipsed Paul Mescal. He was phenomenal playing. Well, I'll just say he played Hano. I don't want to spoil it, but I think everybody knows at this point. If you didn't, it's out there. It's all over the internet. Everybody knows. He's really Lucius But I will not spoil and say who his father was if you've not seen the movie, because it's a kind of a cool surprise, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think everybody killed their role. The twins.
Oh, the twins were just a fun thing to watch, man. They went ham, man. Geta and Karakaya or Karaka, I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, they were phenomenal. Joseph Quinn and Fred Heckinger.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal performances. Amazing. But Gladiator 2, it was really good. I just didn't think it was the kind of epic that I was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, it was average. It's like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I get it. I could say that. I can align with 7 out of 10. But we both hope for a 9 or a 10.
Yeah,
always with those kind of ingredients at your disposal. So, anyway, that's our take here at the Real Cine-Files. If you have not seen Gladiator 2, we do recommend you seeing it. And if you have a chance to see it in Dolby where you're at, go for it. We couldn't because Wicked had our Dolby theater, which that's fine. I'm sure that's really, really huge and popular.
I heard they cooked though.
Yeah,
they cooked a 5-star meal with that movie.
Yeah, it may have. I haven't read a whole lot about it. It's not my thing.
It's a musical.
I know. I mean, I did like The Great and Powerful Oz with James Franco, and of course, we like the original Wizard of Oz. I mean,
yeah, actually, Wicked was a musical on Broadway.
Yeah. Actually, I did know that.
Okay.
But apparently, that's what got its cult following. So that people have been waiting for this for a long time. The actual full adaptation on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen that, I hear it's really good. If it's your thing, go check it out. Wicked. But anyway, so this was episode 9. Phenomenal. We had such a great time. Don't go anywhere. Karate Kid and Cobra Kai is next. We'll see you next time.